On this episode of Freedom Frontier, we're going to talk about the Molot VEPR and 6.5 Grendel. The VEPR is a Russian variant of the AK series of rifles and borrows heavily from the RPK. The VEPR has an interesting story in that it is no longer permitted for import into the United States. In 2014, the Obama administration banned the import of firearms from Russia following the annexation of Crimea and parts of eastern Ukraine. The policy remains in effect until this day, though Russian ammunition shipments continue to flow into American ports. The Molot company produces the rifle at the Vyatsky Polyany manufacturing plant in Kirov Oblast, which is located well east of Moscow in central Russia. The firearm company has a long history in Russian arms manufacturing. It was the plant which produced the well-known Papa Shah submachine gun during World War II. Its current location was established when the original Molot plant had to be evacuated to ensure it didn't fall into German hands. During the Cold War, the Soviet Union tapped Molot to produce the RPK, which is a magazine-fed machine gun and variant of the AK-47. Following the collapse of the Soviet Union, Molot diversified its income stream by manufacturing models of its rifles for the civilian market, both in Russia and throughout the West. The VEPR rifle was one of these projects, and was built in popular Russian and American calibers. In fact, the 6.5 Grendel round in this particular model can trace its lineage through the veritable 7.62 by 39 round. The 6.5 Grendel case head is identical to the 7.62 by 39 cartridge. The 6.5 Grendel is ballistically superior in that it has a greater velocity, up to 2,700 feet per second. The 6.5 Grendel bullet has a greater ballistic coefficient, and that extends the usable range of the round far beyond the 7.62 by 39, up to 800 yards with some rifles, versus the 300 yards or so with the 7.62 by 39. The word VEPR means wild boar in Russian, and in true Russian fashion, the rifle was designed with mainly two things in mind: firepower and reliability. Russian firearm manufacturing has long differed in philosophy from other Western countries. This is for a number of reasons, including the need for extreme reliability in Russia's brutal winter season, as well as a decades-old military model that emphasized simplicity of manufacturing. And unlike in America, where one might have many rifles for many purposes, in Russia, economic hardships meant you were likely to buy only one rifle to fit many roles. In order to upgrade the VEPR with a couple accessories, I needed to break out the Dremel tool. First, I had to remove the rear iron sight and grind down the rear sight block in order to fit a Leupold VXR Patrol on medium QD rings. The scope mount I used was an RS Regulate AK-303M. It's a pretty sturdy mount. AK side mounts aren't the most rock solid, but it does the job well enough. Next, in order to fit a 4-piece flash hider by CNC Warrior, I had to remove the pinned thread protector. Cutting out the pin with a Dremel was a fairly easy task. As long as you're careful and deliberate, no damage will be done to the threads. Importantly, the VEPR isn't meant to be a precision rifle. Even Molot's own marketing isn't shy about showing subpar performance on some of its models. This particular rifle started off its barrel break-in with abysmal accuracy. At first, I was lucky to get 4-inch groups at 100 yards, but after shooting for some time, eventually the group started to narrow down to a little over 2 inches. It still sends an occasional flyer, however, something that I'm not sure will ever go away. Testing was done with both a 100-grain Wolf full metal jacket and 120-grain PPU boat-tailed hollow point. Both brands seem to group about the same. Soon I hope to test the rifle with Hornady 123-grain ELDX to see if groups improve. The stock trigger on the VEPR is pretty atrocious, with many pressure walls to go through before a hard trigger break. Hopefully with a better trigger and a little more shooting down the barrel, this rifle will consistently shoot at 2 MOA. But for now, it's only a 500-yard gun at best. Not great, but nor is it entirely unexpected for what is essentially a sporterized RPK. Recoil on the VEPR is very manageable. The Russian-styled 4-piece flash hider works very well, but also adds gas pressure to the piston, creating more recoil and muzzle rise. A K&N piston would do well to reduce recoil. Adding a muzzle brake instead of the flash hider would make for a very fast shooter in my opinion. The rifle handles very well and is evenly balanced, even with the heavy flash hider and the scope mount and the VXR Patrol attached. The stock furniture is a beautiful walnut with nice checkering on the floor end and thumb-hole stock. The stock is very comfortable. I'm considering swapping the furniture out, but it'd be tough to let go of the walnut. Let me know what you think in the comment section. If you're looking for a multi-role rifle, you might be better off with something like an AR-10 platform, with more accuracy and a ballistically superior round. An AR-10 and 6.5 Grendel would be an excellent American option, but for now I'll be sticking with the VEPR. This probably has to do more with vibes than actual performance. but the reliability of the design is something that I still very much appreciate. It fulfills the role that I expected the rifle to fulfill. A mid-range semi-auto that can take down medium-sized game like deer, hogs, and coyotes, and handle abuse in the field with the dependability of a battle rifle. There's a fascinating mystique to practical rifles like the VEPR. Maybe it's something that harkens back to the days when pioneers or homesteaders had that one rifle that they kept ready about their mantle. Part tool, part weapon, part display piece. As the last of the VEPRs disappear from circulation, it's my hope that American manufacturers will fill the gap left by the VEPR and produce AKs in intermediate or even long-range calibers. The ruggedness of the AK design, matched with the performance of modern calibers, is sure to be a winning combination for sportsmen and citizens alike. In the future, I'll be bringing the VEPR into the 21st century with a number of upgrades. Be sure to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so. And if you'd like to contribute to the channel, you can now do so at Patreon/Freedom Frontier. Thank you for watching.